There comes a point in almost everyone's financial life where progress suddenly stops feeling slow. For years, it feels like you're saving, investing, and sacrificing, yet barely moving forward. Then one day, almost without warning, you realize something incredible. Your money is growing faster than your paycheck ever did. This moment doesn't happen because of luck. It doesn't happen because of timing the market. And it definitely doesn't happen overnight. It happens because of math. Specifically, there are 3 net worth milestones where compound interest shifts from being barely noticeable to completely life-altering. Once you cross these thresholds, wealth stops creeping forward and starts accelerating on its own. Before we break them down, let's clear up one massive misconception. Most people believe wealth grows in a straight line. Save a little, grow a little. Save more, grow more. Simple and predictable. But investing doesn't work that way. Wealth grows exponentially, not linearly. It behaves more like a snowball rolling downhill. Slow and frustrating at first, then suddenly powerful enough to pick up speed without your help. That's why so many people quit too early. They give up right before the math starts working for them. The first turning point, $100,000. The first major shift happens at $100,000. This is the hardest milestone to reach. Not because it's large, but because your own effort is doing most of the work. Early on, your contributions matter far more than your returns. Imagine investing $500 per month at a conservative 7% annual return. It takes roughly 8 years to reach your first $100,000. During this phase, nearly half of that balance comes from your own deposits. Progress feels slow. Growth feels underwhelming. And this is exactly where most people lose patience. But here's the truth. Once you reach $100,000, you've already completed the most difficult part of the journey. At this point, compound interest finally has something meaningful to work with. Why $100,000 is not 10% of the journey. People assume that $100,000 is just 1/10 of a million. Mathematically, that sounds logical, but financially it's completely wrong. After crossing 6 figures, your money begins generating returns large enough to noticeably accelerate growth. The next $100,000 arrives much faster than the first. In fact, going from $100,000 to $200,000 can take 5 years or less, even without increasing your monthly contributions. That's compound interest waking up. The acceleration phase, $400,000 and beyond. As time passes, investment growth starts overtaking your savings. By the time you reach around $400,000, something remarkable happens. Most of your net worth no longer comes from your own pocket. Your money is now doing the heavy lifting. At this level, a 7% return generates nearly $28,000 per year, without you working extra hours, changing jobs, or making sacrifices. This is the moment many people realize they're no longer chasing money. Money is chasing them. The second tipping point, $650,000. The next major shift occurs around $650,000. Why does this number matter? Because at this level, your investments can generate income comparable to a full-time salary. At an 8% return, $650,000 produces over $50,000 per year. That income alone may not replace a high-paying job, but it dramatically changes your financial reality. Job loss becomes manageable. Career changes become possible. Risk becomes optional instead of terrifying. This is when financial stress starts to loosen its grip. You gain something far more valuable than money itself: options. You can start a business, reduce work hours, invest in yourself, or simply breathe easier knowing your survival no longer depends on your next paycheck. The final psychological shift: $1 million. Reaching $1 million isn't about luxury or status. It's about security. At this level, your portfolio can reasonably generate $40,000 to $70,000 per year, depending on returns and withdrawal strategy. Combined with other income sources later in life, this creates a powerful safety net. More importantly, crossing 7 figures changes how you think. You stop asking, "Can I afford this?" and start asking, "Is this worth my time?" That mental shift is what separates people who stay wealthy from those who never build wealth at all. Why the journey gets easier after $1 million. Once you reach $1 million, each additional milestone becomes mathematically easier. $1 million to $1.5 million requires a 50% gain. $1 million to $2 million requires a doubling. $3 million to $4 million requires only a 33% increase. Time and compound growth do the work, if you maintain discipline. This is why people who stay invested and consistent often see their net worth multiply faster later in life than at any earlier point. The big picture: market crashes will happen. Inflation will exist. Fear will always be present. But over long time horizons, consistent investing turns volatility into an advantage, not a threat. The real risk isn't starting too early or too small. The real risk is waiting. Because decades from now, you'll either look back grateful you stayed consistent, or wonder how different life could have been if you had trusted the math.